There we go.
Hold on. I don't have it up, but I have myself, and then I just heard your voice. Okay, thank you. You got the recording and everything. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. So I was just texting you. I put in a ticket and they told me I sent you an email that I need to be the organizer or whatever, but I'm
Yeah.
still having issues. So I'm going to follow up with them again tomorrow and see what's going on.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So thank you so much.
it's interesting. Like I'm looking at the participants and it has you as executive and director external and not
I
NDDA director.
I think that's what the issue is with this
Okay.
meeting because I don't experience it the same way everywhere, but it just seems wonky anyway. So I was just going to have them go through, but that might be what the issue is.
Yeah.
So we might just want to cancel this appointment and set up something different. Um, but not tonight. Like we can't do
Okay.
that to them now. It'll turn into mayhem, you know.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, we can do that later. But yeah, I'll look at this tomorrow and see if I can't just like do something on my end really fast.
Yeah, it's just so strange because the guy like it was like the simplest thing to him, and I'm like, I don't know that that's fully because I can't do any of the transcription stuff that you said you had set me up to do, and so it's been weird. So I'll have him look
Yeah.
at it again tomorrow when I had more time.
Okay.
All right, well, have a good evening. Thanks for setting me up. So everything is going like you need it to, and so now it's just the people will come.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna jump out. If it
Yep.
messes anything up, just text me and
Okay.
I'll,
Thank you so much, Peter.
yeah, of course.
Okay, let's Hi, everyone. Andrew is running just a couple minutes late, so he'll be on in about 2 more minutes. And Danielle is downloading the platform, so she's just a little bit behind. We have three people that are out this evening, so we don't have quorum right now. We won't for just a couple more minutes, but we shouldn't be too delayed. I just wanted to let you all know.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do you want me to do it for you?
I'm gonna have to, yeah. Whose speaker are we doing?
I
That'll make it easier. But I think I'm not getting an echo now. Or
If you turn your speakers on your windows down, sometimes that works.
That's what I've been
mine are off.
You need to turn yours.
Okay, so we just have one person with speakers on. Okay,
Okay.
you want to be the speakers?
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. All right, sorry for the delay, everyone. Yeah, I don't. We got it. Okay. I can do, if you guys both mute and turn your speakers off, then I'll use mine because I think they're probably gonna be loud enough. Okay. So try this.
My speakers might be on, I don't know, but I have it muted.
Okay.
See what happens.
Let's see. Can we?
It sounds like we're not doing it anymore. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Ian.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get this connection's really slow.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. All right. I don't have audio, but that's okay. Well, it's 6:10. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Kate, can you take a roll?
Yes. 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 Sorry, we're trying to figure this out.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this evening, Everett Nielsen, Steve Carreau, and Steve Roundtree let me know that they would not be able to join us. So the next on my list is Scott Papich.
I'm here. Did you hear me?
I can see him now. Thank you. Andrew Dewart
Yes.
and Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood,
Here.
all right, and Trustee Corvalon should be joining us shortly.
I'm going to go downstairs and see if I can help them really quick. I will be right back. And we'll see if we can get this figured out.
Can anybody else hear me right now?
We can hear you, Scott.
Okay,
Can you
just
hear
check.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I was gonna ask if there's any questions or comments on the consent agenda. If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I actually have one question.
Okay.
There is an item $4,124 for Riverwalk. I'm trying to figure out what that was for. Because I thought we hadn't spent any money.
Okay, so we did spend on the replacement rock that they put in and cleaning up over there and the materials that they used. It's that we haven't been able to do the full width, which was more of the concrete work yet. So that's what we've been invoiced for, is the materials used to clean up the river walk and start that project.
Okay. Thanks. So I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, Scott Papich,
Yes, thank you.
Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon, are you on? Okay. Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all.
You're muted, Andrew.
Yeah, so is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none or hearing none? Okay. Yeah, I don't, right now, I'm just gonna, I don't have anything for the chair report right now, so I'm gonna let Kate go ahead and get it started.
All right, so we have the treasurer's report, and Steve Roundtree's not here, so I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything. Included in there is the profit and loss, the last budget draft that went to the town of Nederland, our committed versus uncommitted, and then detail for traffic control, the planning uses that we've had, like rain garden and that, and event support detail that don't have their own, category in our follow-up, just so that you could see what the numbers were as we were getting spending down to year end. So if there's any question on that, go ahead and raise your hand. That might be easiest for us. Yep. All right, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, forgive me for dragging this out. I'm reading the sentence that we've expended 153,000 being toward town expenditures. Are we making a distinction between town expenditures and non-town expenditures, as in 153 on things that normally are not DDA expenditures?
So that's the way that we're set up in QuickBooks. So that's basically how town expenditures is everything that is your capital improvement projects. So a lot of that is, yes, overlap with town. So it includes everything. But if you look at your profit and loss, you'll see how it says town expenditures, and then it tabs in, and then it lists a bunch of different projects with the resolution numbers. So that's what's included in town expenditures. So yes, a lot of that is on our cooperative projects, but that also includes event support and other items and beautification. Well, that is one but it has everything. Does that help you?
To a degree, there is, I guess, 49,000 of expenditures that's not called town expenditures. And I'm looking at the P&L and kind of wondering what it is. Is anybody still there?
Easier for all of us.
All right, can you say that again, Scott, so that I can respond?
So, sorry to drag this out. So of 202,000 of expenditures, if 153,000 is town expenditures, that leaves 49,000 is not town expenditures. And I really, I can't tell from looking at the P&L what that is. That must be like admin expenditures and then something else.
Yes, that's what it is. So our salaries and employer taxes are at the top of expenses, which is the numbers that you're
Okay.
looking at. And so there's the legal, accounting, phone, office supplies, computer, postage and delivery. Boulder County tax collection and is the other major expenditure other than salaries in this category.
All right, I see it now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Barb, if you'd be willing to, I've just got to switch computers and stuff and get on a different screen. Barb, would you be willing to, Barb and Kate, can you MC things for a while?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Not a problem. So I'll keep on, if there's no more questions about treasurer, Scott, can you put your hand down so then I can just make sure that I'm managing everyone? Thank you. Sorry for all the rigmarole, but so the next is the executive director's report, and I don't have anything else to add that's not in there. So I'll hand it, if Jonathan wants to give any updates about town staff report, this would be a great time.
All our time has been pretty busy working on the budget. Last night, the town board did approve the budget for 2025. If you have any questions about what that entails or other work that we're doing or any other questions relevant for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Raise your hand if you have any questions for John. All right, not seeing any. Thanks, John. We have a beautification report included, but there's also an item this evening, so there's not really anything to add. And we'll get into that with Judy, who is with us this evening to talk about her proposal for the board. And Danielle, do you want to give an update on public art?
Sure. Thank you, Kate. Public art has been pretty quiet. We've been waiting for that budget to go through. Thank you, Jonathan. I've also been in touch with Mike Foster of Hands of Time, working with Eldora on the Marian sculptures. We're still waiting for a major signature to make sure that those sculptures can be moved into storage safe and sound, with the Eldora ski resort being for sale. That's been complicating the process and making sure that everything's handled professionally with paperwork and signatures. But now that we have the budget approved, I'll check in again with Mike and Steve Rowntree and see how we can get that solidified and mainly focus our budget this year on making sure the Marian sculptures are taken care of, see where that lands with a projection, and then check in with any kind of new public art that the committee wants to focus on. And then we'll bring that back to you when we have it. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. We kind of already gave a Riverwalk report, but I'm wondering, Barb, do you have anything to add?
No, I haven't heard anything from Nikki in a little while, and I know she's had some family stuff, so I haven't been bothering her.
Okay. Thanks, Barb. And
Yeah.
then I'll give a quick wayfinding update. The wayfinding ARFP is out, and there will be the question period is starting, and we will be bringing it back to the board in January with the scores and that. And we're pretty excited to have that out now and officially going. So we may be coming with some more information about that in January. And next, I'd like to propose, because Judy's here and I was hoping we'd get a little bit more, if Stephanie or them wanted to join, we could kind of accommodate them not being on so late if we move discussion before action, if that's all right.
I make a motion that we move the discussion before the action.
Second.
Thanks, Barb. Scott Papich,
Yes.
Andrew Dewart.
Yes.
I don't see Trustee Corvalon on yet. Barb Hart,
Yes?
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
All right. So since we have Judy here, we'll start with her item just to allow time for Stephanie or any members of time served that were notified about this meeting that applied last year to responded last year to the RFP. I just want to make sure that they have some time to join us. So I will kick it off here with Judy and then turn it over to her. So the item before you tonight is that we would like to replace the DDA's 10 existing planters with new ones. This would include all the planters except for the one in the traffic circle, which would be a separate conversation. The new planters are from Earth Planter, and you can see in the specs attached to this item, and are the same ones that Blackhawk will be replacing all of their 60 pots with. That's part of why we're bringing this, is that there is some cost savings with doing this in conjunction with Blackhawk and then doing our delivery in conjunction with Blackhawk so that our flowers can have the same pop as the picture below. Because they will start growing down in the greenhouse, and then when they come up in June, they'll be ready to go. So they're the same size as the one we have, and they come with a lifetime guarantee. The other thing that's attractive about this is that they have 18-gallon reservoir to ensure proper watering. Durand Greenhouse, our vendor, will plant and deliver them each season, which will allow for an earlier planting down in their greenhouse, as I mentioned. This should yield that desired pop of flowers. The cost of replacing the planters can be covered by the remaining budget from 2024. The planting and delivery is a little more expensive, but it will be made up by not needing to buy new soil fertilizer each year. Attached, you'll find the price list for the resale pots. These prices have gone up a little bit, but we feel very comfortable that we could stay under $5,000 for the replacement. The other piece of this is that what to do with the 10 pots that we have, and we had discussed that we would disseminate them to the business community in some way, or to keep them out so that we just have more pots, but that they wouldn't be managed by the DDA in the same way, that they would be whoever business owners that wanted them. It would be on them to manage it. And of course, if they wanted some help with something, we could look at how all that could work. But we're wondering your thoughts as well on what to do with those pots if you are in approval of this. So our recommendation is to replace the 10 planters currently owned by the DDA with the Earth planters, as well as work with town and local businesses to disseminate those no longer in use by the DDA. For financial considerations, this could be included in the beautification budget of $60,000. Currently, about $33,000 of this budget has been utilized, and this includes paying for town seasonal staff. So the questions before the board this evening are, does the board approve of purchasing 10 planters in an amount not to exceed $5,000 and disseminating the planters no longer in use? And you have possible motions before you tonight to move it to action, or to wait until next month if you would like more information on anything, or a motion to approve the purchase of planters in an amount not to exceed whatever is decided, and to disseminate the local planters no longer in use by the DDA. And like I said, Judy is here with us this evening to answer any questions that you may have. So if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand.
Thank you, Kate. That was very thorough.
I see Danielle came in first, and then I see Scott. So first, Danielle, please.
Thank you. So committee member Becky Joyce and I saw Judy when she was doing some of her end of year work this fall. And a conversation started about what to possibly do with the planters. And I just want to put in a little note that Ned Public Art would be happy to put our minds to being creative with them. And I do like the idea of reaching out to the businesses and seeing who might want to adopt them and help strengthen the beautification project by contributing through adopting a pot. Thank you.
It's a great idea. You know, there are business owners that have expressed interest in the past and do love them. So we do feel confident that there are people out there that would like to take care of them. But I love that idea too. There could be a way that all of that could work together. And we could work on that over the next few months, because it doesn't need to be an immediate decision with regard to what to do with the planners. It's more, we want to make sure that we get our order in with Duran's and make sure that we're on their shipment schedule, and that so that we can take advantages of all the cost savings that this could afford us. That's the real urgency in this item, is just making sure of that. So next we have Scott.
Well, first thing, Danielle, I think that's a cool idea. Thanks for offering that up. My question has to do with the budget. So the 2024 budget, if we've utilized 33,000, that leaves about 27,000. So this would leave roughly 22,000 in the 2024 budget for beautification that would, as far as I can tell, it would go unutilized in 2024. Am I interpreting that correctly?
So it would go unutilized in 2024, and then what would happen is that to meet the 60,000 that's approved for next year, it would be 20. We would put that 22 towards that.
So
Does
when you
that
say
make
that,
sense?
no, it doesn't to me, because so if we're saying we add 20, you're saying we add 22 next year to the 60,000 that's already there?
No, we take from the 60. That 22 moves forward. So yes, we zero out, but because we have resolutions, that's what guides us. And so that resolution and that amount of money is still in our account. So it will be applied to next year. So that way we would actually only be taking 40 some odd in new funding in 2025.
That makes sense.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The only thing that I think I would add so far is that the new pots will go in the locations where our existing pots are right now. So town will, they have said that they can be involved in moving these big heavy cement pots that we have. And we have until April or so before we would need to really know where these pots are going to go. The old pots are going to go. So I've kind of run this past Nikki, and they seem to be able to use their equipment to move the pots to the businesses. I've also had just private people in the community offer to buy them and take them to their homes too. So that's just another thought that came up, but I think keeping them in town would be ideal. And having the businesses kind of take over the planting and care of the old ones. But the new ones, it is exciting. I mean, with Black Hawk having 60 pots, and this last season, they did a test run with one of these new pots. And just after one season, they've decided to replace all of their 60 pots with the same ones that we're talking about getting. So I'm very confident that they will be a good addition to town.
All right, Andrew.
Okay. I don't know if now is we necessarily need to go down the rabbit hole of this, but understanding that, when we did our initial budget of 60,000, we weren't necessarily thinking of adding, we hadn't at that time had dialogue with town staff about the parks budget, and additional, I know there was a thought of, well, replace the 2 part-timers with 1 full-time. I think in hearing Nikki, that wasn't her intention. So, I think that regardless of whatever happens, this is really actually has nothing to do with Judy. So I just wanted to say that we might be, adjusting the beautification budget or talking about how that relates to kind of some synergy with town staff.
Mhm.
Thanks.
And honestly, Andrew, that's where there could be the wiggle room. So this $5,000 ask is not a big one. When she told me how much it was, I was like, oh, because I was thinking it was going to be a much higher number. We could, because you authorized 60,000, you could also look at, adding that or disseminating that to Parks budget or working with that money as well to make that happen. So there's some different ways that we could paper that and go through a transparent process and not have to really add any more money to say other than what we've already approved, but just moving it differently, if that makes sense to everybody. I think I heard him say, yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Okay,
sense. Yeah.
I think I heard you in the hallway, but then not on here. All right. So do you want to go around the room, Andrew? Do you want to have everybody do that?
Yeah, let's go around the room, Kate. It'd be great.
All right, so I'll just call on you how I see everybody in my screen. So Scott Papich, do you have anything to add or anything else you'd like to say?
I think the recommendation is sound. The budget dollars aren't huge. I think it's a good idea. I would be very much in favor of seeing the old pots remain in use in the downtown area by businesses or be utilized by the art team or both. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that could be a really fun collaboration. I've got a note to follow up with Danielle on that.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next on my screen, I have Barb.
I have no questions. I would vote yes.
Thanks, Barb. Nathan?
I think it's a great idea. I agree with Scott about maybe prioritizing the old pots for businesses downtown. Be great to get more out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we were thinking, that ultimately it just makes a bigger impact. And it's kind of a goodwill thing too that we could do. And then you add the public art, like it just could be a really fun thing for us to do. So thank you.
Yeah,
Andrew?
awesome.
No additional questions or comments. I think it's a good idea. I'd support it.
Thanks so much. Danielle?
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank Judy for the research and working with Blackhawk and jumping on this opportunity to save money with the pots. That's awesome and great teamwork with our other towns.
Thank you.
And Trustee Corvallin has joined us. Do you have anything or any questions on this item?
No, it doesn't seem like, what I understood, you're not asking for changing the budget. It's just taking this out of the budget.
Yes, taking it out of what we have available currently, to maximize, to maximize what we could do, because we do place these orders now, because you'll have another item from Judy in January for her budget so that she can get moving, because we start going on that pretty early with the greenhouse, and then she gets to take a break for a little bit and then she's on.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we've gone around. Is there a motion to move it to action?
I'll move that we turn this into an action item.
I second it.
Thank you. And I will call roll. Scott Papich,
Yes.
Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all. All right, you in your packet, you have another sample of a motion, if that helps.
I make motion to approve the purchase of planters for an amount not to exceed $5,000 and to disseminate locally the planters no longer in use by the DDA.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.
Scott Papich.
Quick question. We say to distribute locally, we mean like within the district?
Yes, that it would be shopping center and then the other side of the crew too, but this might be a nice opportunity to spread those over to the shopping center a little bit more. So those are all the types of things that Judy and I have been talking about. So yes, I do, and I've heard from most of you that you agree with keeping it all in the district just to keep it looking beautiful.
Yeah, I'm a yes on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all. Judy, do you want to say anything?
Oh, just thank you for your support, and I'm excited to move forward with this. It's going to have a wonderful impact on town, and we're finally going to get that pop. The traffic circle is another discussion. There's a lot of regulation being it's a state highway and just the challenges that it presents, but we'll figure that one out too. So thank you all.
Thanks, Judy. All right. I don't see anybody on that responded to the RFP for summer concert series last year, but let's just get going. And if they do happen to join at some point, maybe we could take it as a comment or figure some way out. I don't want to delay anybody. So your next agenda item for discussion is the 2025 Summer Concert Series RFP. The Summer Concert Series committee members have drafted the attached RFP for the NDDA board to review and comment on. The RFPs for similar programs were reviewed to draft the attached as well as lessons learned from last year. The committee would like to release the RFP in December to give time to lift the series based on feedback received from the 2024 process. Responses will be received and scored before the January meeting, where a recommendation and agreement will be on the agenda. The goal is to lift as soon as possible so that the artist may be booked earlier than in 2024. You'll see attached a draft of the Summer Concert Series RFP. And the questions before you this evening are, does the board have any comments or concerns with the draft RFP? And is the board ready to move forward with the RFP? And if you do feel ready, you have possible motions to move this as well to action and move to approve the RFP for release tomorrow. All right. Any questions? We can raise hands.
Don't see any questions. Oh, there's Steph.
There's Stephanie. We just got to the RFP, so you came in at the right time, Stephanie. I see no. Oh,
There we go. Yeah, I saw what the draft RFP was, so I thought I'd just see where we were in the meeting and if I could learn anything or give any input, but the RFP looks fine.
It's pretty much the same as last year, with the exception of we wanted allocate some more money to try and get have some bigger names if possible, and try and get this out as soon as we could. We realize it's kind of a little late in the season as is, you know, for bookings, and a lot of bookings for next year already happen in the fall, but hopefully, you know, there's still some opportunity. And then next year, our intention is to have an RFP, you know, be fully funded and go out in the fall instead of the, you know, after New Year's. So.
When you say bigger acts, which would cost more money, and you went from $50,000 to $60,000 for 6 events versus 5, where does the calculation come for bigger acts? I see it as another event, same level acts.
Well, we were at 6 events last year. Yeah, the goal is to have six events.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
That's the case. And I am definitely in favor, and I know a lot of people who put this together were in favor of different locations to try out and see how it affects different part of town. So I like that you spell it out versus before you asked where locations were or ideas for locations, which I believe only I answered with what you are using. So I think that's great to direct the people who are going to apply.
Yeah, except we still don't have, this is Tanya, we don't really have another better location. Gercio Field's a disaster with those divots and rivets in it. The performance space is a non-starter, not happening. No budget to it from this group, and town doesn't have any action towards it. That's not happening. Closing First Street and closing Big Springs Drive and Chipeta Park are really the only options for next year. FY, because the Gercio Field's not, I mean, has anybody walked it? It's not good. It's not good.
I mean, it's better than it was, but I agree.
No,
It's
it's
still,
not. No, it's not. Those
think-
divots have not, they have not, they were like, I was kept being told every time I complained about it, they're going to settle in. It just takes time. And 2 years have passed. There's been no activity allowed on the field. And we're still in a situation that's worse than it was before we had the grant. So I'm just saying, if you're looking at locations, you should walk Gercio Field before you put it on your list, because it's a disaster. The performance space is just dirt pile, but it's better than Gercio. It doesn't have the divots. And then Chipeta Park is really the best spot for the event, and I'd be for having it just there every time, to be honest, with maybe a couple street closures, maybe one on Big Springs Drive and one on First Street, to see if it draws any money to those businesses, or if the B&F parking lot wanted to close their parking lot and let us do it there. But that was just my feedback, because if anybody's listening who wants to think that Gercio is an option, it's not.
Thanks, Tanya. Yeah, that's why we changed the language in the RFP to kind of leave it open to exactly what you're talking about, mostly like to let people make that decision about Chipeta, if we get to use First Street, all of that. So thank you for those comments.
Kate, did you ever get monthly reports last time from Time Served?
I didn't. I did
never
get
got any either.
yes.
Why is it in
so
the
I
RFP this time?
excuse me, can you say that again?
Why is it in the RFP this time if we didn't get it last time? Is it
Because
something
I want it still, because it would be really helpful. And so
why
I did.
didn't you get it? Did they
So
give
I
you a
got
reason?
I got some things, but I would like something a little bit more formal than what we got. And it's the first year, so it's nothing against Time Served. It's just I want to enforce that a little bit more. And we did get an end of the season financial report, and that, so we did get reporting, and Mandy was very good about providing that. But I
Do
think
you
there's
have that anywhere in one of the updates? Then is it if I click the summer concert series, the report will be in there?
So it was in the past. I stopped putting it in there after we paid it out and everything. So I can send you anything about that if you'd like to. But yes, so we have good financial accounting. I just think that there's some other pieces that formally having you all get some more information on some decision points, because we definitely want to work on marketing more this year. And so that's something I would like a little more tracking on, and get a good vibe, where are you posting? Like, where is this listed? You know, how many ads, you know, just so that we have a better feel on that. Because like was brought up during the budget conversation with the BOT, there wasn't a bump in the sales tax revenue, where there is the opportunity that these summer concert series could provide that more. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity, and I stated this in the meeting, that I think there's some opportunity there for us to expand that and look at that a little bit more this year. Because, you know, I think we've figured out a lot of things just in how to get it up and running, like the pragmatics of it. And now it's really more about digging in to the details and ways that we can tweak things this year.
If you do want to spend more on marketing, then the way the RFP reads right now is the minimal amount of marketing, which says some social posts, a poster, and making sure it's on a website. So maybe if you are talking about updating the RFP, you could add a proposal of a mixed marketing plan to approve, unless that's all you really want, to keep it very, very local with just those mediums.
So I think the intent has always been, you know, to keep it local, but we also want to let people know that are down in Boulder and think are coming up, you know, like we still want to get it down to Boulder a little bit. And that's more to like let people know if they're thinking about it. This is the way I think about it in my mind. If they're thinking about going for a hike in Ned that day with their kids or with family or whatever, and then they know this is happening too, then they plan their whole time up here around that and where they're going to go to dinner and things like that. And so I think we're also trying to capture some of that. So that's good feedback. So I'm not asking for like, you know, a huge campaign. I just think that a little bit more would be is what I've been hearing that people were looking for.
And based on the final report, you have numbers of how many people were at the different dates. I know there were issues like weather, et cetera, but can you also put into the RFP, based on the first year, we expect to have X, Y, and Z in terms of population and involvement?
That would be up to the board. That's a question for the board. If they want to put into those numbers, if that's what they're, because, you know, I'd be interested in what the board had to say about that.
Talking about, are we keeping track of how many people are coming? Is that your question, Steph? Like, is that like a reporting?
So we have that information lightly, you know, it's not like an exact head count, but we do have, you know, an estimate of the numbers. I think Stephanie's what I'm interested more in feedback from the board on is including something in the RFP, and maybe Stephanie, that's what you pull out again.
Yes. Because you have learning from the first year, I think it's great to say not just we did it in the first year, but these were the opportunities and what we learned and what went well and where we want to be better. So please address this in the RFP so that we can improve, whether that's more people, more places, you know, more nonprofits, et cetera. You were great about emphasizing the nonprofits this year. But as we know, it's also the nonprofits themselves that don't have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess there should be some element of this RFP that has learnings from last year.
Yeah, I agree, Steph. There wasn't a whole lot of traction on the nonprofit element. But that's kind of, I mean, I don't know where to put that effort on. Was it, you know, the NDDA not letting nonprofits know this opportunity existed? All that. It's not just necessarily time served. That falls on everybody. I had a concern about our rain policy because there was one event in August that it rained from 5 to 7, and which was exactly the hours of the event. And Steph, maybe you as a promoter could answer this. Why didn't they just start at 7? Is it because there was no lights? Maybe it was summertime still. Because at 7 it cleared up and it was a gorgeous evening. But what is typical of an event? If it's meant to go from 5 to 7.
You know, it depends on the agreement you have and whether you have contingency plans for everyone, which means you may have to pay your staff for those extra hours, or they agree and the stage agrees and the town, permit for the area agrees for a contingency plan based on weather. So it should be laid out.
It also
And
tends to be
maybe it wasn't.
different.
Maybe there was lightning. If there's lightning, it's over.
Well, there was from 5 to 7. I don't remember the extent. I know it rained really hard, and then at 7 it cleared up and it was gorgeous. But you know how it is. But
It also
I
tends
don't
to be
remember
different for
it.
ticketed.
Sorry, go ahead, Scott. Sorry to interrupt.
It tends to be different for ticketed events than it is for free open events. That's worth.
so I guess my question is for the RFP. Like, I know it's rain or shine, I think. No, it's not rain or shine. So that's just a wash that we lost that event. That's just, you wouldn't expect it to start at 7. Like at that point, they give up and they start packing up the show. But that's how it would be. That's how it should be, Steph. I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Well, I mean, I like Scott's point. However, even if it's free, there's still costs and legality. So the RFP could say there needs to be contingency plans for bad weather. And that company that's applying could say, okay, we'll do a different date, or we'll hold a date at the end as a makeup date. Like we join things where it says you'll have 10 sessions, but if we can't do it during that, we have a makeup session. So that could be a contingency plan. And then you come back. I mean, the big interest here is to have people to bring business downtown. So what if it's at the end of the series or the middle of the series, but there should be a contingency plan. So I think that kind of wording could be in the RFP.
Scott, was that
Like
your hand up or?
No,
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it up for a different reason. I will say though, Steph, that's a great idea. You still, if we hire bands and they show up and they can't play, to bring them back on another date, we're still going to incur a lot of extra cost. And so that requires that we use a really accurate forecast to make a decision days in advance and say, yeah, it's going to rain this weekend. We're not even going to do this thing. We'll do it later in September instead. So it doesn't, it's a good thought to have, and it's a good thing to try and be mindful of. It's still a tough thing to solve, but I think it's worth considering.
Totally agree that you are paying at least half to the band. And that should be on the promoter producer, not the client. So if the client's giving $60,000, it's up to the promoter producer entity to incur these risks and decide how to allocate that funding, with knowing that if one event gets rained out, there'll be a makeup date. So I appreciate that input.
So just real quick, I do want to let you know that under requirements that there is to provide an inclement weather plan, including rain, excessive heat, etc.
Right. That'd be nice to add into this RFP. I don't want to forget the reason I raised my hand. And I want to go back to a topic that we abandoned a minute ago. The notion that this be moved around town to benefit different parts of town. And here's my question. We talk about this a lot, but I've never heard anybody bring any facts to the table on this topic. When we did this thing last summer down on First Street, does anybody have any really strong sense or any facts around whether or not it benefited the businesses on First Street? Because they were closed, the street was closed while they were for 3 hours plus, or does it actually hurt those businesses?
I can at least share some anecdotal. I talked to a couple of the businesses, one Busey, for example, and I think it would, to his the high level feedback was, yeah, it was a good night. He was basically selling to-go beer. What people did with it when they took it to go was their own thing, but I think if, First Street is in the cards again this year, we should figure out the common consumption so that all of the businesses, be it Crosscut or First Street or, um, well, not First Street, but the covered wagon, like they would be able to sell without fear of, it's the kind of, um, I think we got a lot of feedback from people saying they liked that wasn't, necessarily beer being sold at Chipeta Park. There was definitely still, people bringing their own. I think the First Street thing, the feedback that I got was it'd be great if, we could sell this and, um, not have to, no, I don't think they were worried too much, but it's just, technically that wasn't quite legal. Like people taking to go beer and opening it on First Street, or consuming it on First Street.
That's
So I think
that's an
town-
interesting point, but really my question is, did having it on First Street benefit the businesses, or was it such a disruption to business that it actually hurt them? Does anybody know?
I didn't hear that it was a disruption. I heard that it was a benefit to at least Busey, and but we could do more follow up this year.
I just want to say
Think we
something
should.
quickly. When we did the silent disco on First Street, and they followed that plan. It was basically across from Busey, so you could still get into that second Ron parking lot and down. And you're only taking up what used to be decent bagel parking spots, and the dispensary and the goat t-shirt. That was it for parking. That was disrupted. And I know the dispensary loves to stay open. So it's really a matter, the answer, Scott, is it's what time is the event? Because there's way more disruption at 4 o'clock than there is at 7 o'clock. So that's just something to consider. You could have one event that's later and will bring a lot of benefits to the businesses that are interested in music, drinking, and food, versus the ones like Rustic Moose who would not want this because they don't care about the music side of it.
I would say it might not be a bad thing for us to change just a very tiny thing in this RFP, and that is on the project overview, instead of saying the location for the concerts will be different in order to disperse the economic benefits, we should say the locations could be different so that we're not bound to making them different, because we may hear from more businesses that say, we really don't want it in front of our business, or, hey man, or we really do want it in front of our business, but we're making assumptions right now. Let's make it easier on ourselves and change that to location of the concerts could be different. Just my 2 cents on that. Thanks.
All right, that's an easy change. Thank you. I don't
Anything
see any.
else?
Okay. Do you want to go around, Andrew?
I mean, I think we've kind of been doing that. I don't know
Okay.
if we need to formally go around, if anyone else has something to add or share.
Well, like with beautification, this can be moved to action, or we can come back, in your packet, it has suggested motions. You can state that you would like me to include the edits that were discussed, which changing it to could, and I can change the language from plans to contingency plans to make that more clear if that helps everybody. But that item is already in there. But those were and if you are interested in having some more clarification about adding lessons learned, like Stephanie was discussing, let me know if that's your thought too in any resolutions or any motions that may come.
I know I'm not on the board, but I just think that that wording of should to could is not going to encourage any new thinking and business connections to get the feedback of whether they think it would benefit them or not. So perhaps, the applicant is encouraged to come up with different locations that benefit the entire downtown district area. Otherwise, it's just going to be an easy, oh, it's been done here, let's just do it all
I like that wording.
So encourage to benefit all businesses in the district. And hopefully the winner thinks through that, and that sets them apart.
Thank you. And Nathan, I caught your comment that you like that. Danielle has her hand raised.
I was going to make the motion that we move this as an action item.
Great. Thank you, Danielle.
Second?
All right. I will do roll. Thank you. All right. Scott Papich,
Yes.
Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes?
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all. And then in your packet is the suggested next motion or one possible next motion.
Motion to approve the 2025 Summer Concert Series RFP.
Second.
Okay, and I'll do roll. Scott Papich,
Can we please ask for the edits to be included? Is that part of the motion, that the edits be included in it?
Barb, do you want to amend your motion?
Yes, motion to approve the 2025 Summer Concert Series RFP with included edits.
Second.
All right, thank you. Scott Papich,
Yes.
Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes?
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all. This will be released tomorrow. And thanks. We're real excited to get this going. And now we'll go up to action items, which is we'll start with the 2024 Ned Fire Protection District IGA funding resolution. And let me. Okay. Sorry, we've been jumping around. I have to get to the right spot. Okay. Tonight we have Resolution 2024-10 and the funding of the DDA and the Ned Fire Protection District IGA. During the 2024 budget process, and the Nederland Fire Protection District IGA funding was approved by the Nederland Downtown Development Authority Board and the Board of Trustees. The attached resolution is needed to authorize the funding and make it available for eligible expenditures. The attached resolution 2024-10 is for review and vote this evening. In 2023, the Ned Fire Protection District mill rose to 16.873, which means that in 2024, to honor the IGA, we will need an additional $1,458.16 to come from unspent beautification funds in 2024. The total amount due in 2024 will be $31,458.16. $30,000 was approved as part of the 2024 budget. And so attached, you'll have the IGA as well as the funding resolution. And so the questions before you this evening is, does the board approve of allocating $1,458.16 in unspent 2024 beautification funds to fulfill the Nederland Fire Protection District IGA? And does the board approve Resolution 2024-10 and the funding of the Fire Protection District IGA? And then I have potential motions listed there below for your convenience. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Kate. I don't know if anyone's got any questions.
I think we've been doing this for several years and it just makes sense to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
I have no questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason that I had to bring it for you this way is because it went above the 30 that you had allocated. So that's why this year we asked for more than that. So that's really the biggest reason that this isn't just a consent item this year. Just to give that clarification that it's not really meant to do
Okay.
anything other than make sure that we paper the trail of money.
I move to approve the allocation of the $1,458.16 in unspent beautification funds to fund the NFPD IGA.
Second?
Thank you both. All right, Scott Papich,
Because I'm a member of the fire department, I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
thank you, Scott. Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. And now we just need the motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-10 and the funding of the NFPD IGA.
A second.
Thank you both. Scott Papich,
Again, as a member of that team, I'll abstain from the vote. Thank you.
thank you. Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
Thank you all. And we'll cut that check and get that to them this week and make everything whole. Okay, so next we are moving on to just a quick item about the 2025 board committees. And I reached out to you all mostly individually to talk about your thoughts on next year. And so that's where we landed is after our November meeting, board committees were discussed individually with board members as to their desire to continue or contribute in other areas needed. The results were as follows. For performance space, if there's any traction on this, it would be Andrew Dewart and Trustee Corvalon as they had been on in the past. Summer concert series, Andrew Dewart. Public art, Danielle Kraus. Riverwalk is Barb Hart through the end of this project. And hopefully we'll be wrapping that up in the first part of 2025. Wayfinding, we have Steve Crow and Steve Roundtree continuing to work with me, but now that we have the construction administrator, it's more me working with the construction administrator and then bouncing things off of them if there's anything to move forward. For the website, Nathan Smallwood has offered to help move that forward. And for event support, Trustee Corvalon has volunteered to help with bringing items to the board for how we're going to spend that money in 2025. So given the upcoming update to the plan of development, more committees for projects may be needed in 25, and there are board members available and interested in helping when needed. For example, Everett being with CDOT, and in the winter, that's why he's not here tonight because he's on the night shift. And so he can't contribute right now, but he hopes to be able to contribute if there's anything coming out of the update to the plan of development where he can be helpful. So there are people available to take on things that could come up, which is always a good situation for us to be in. So the question before you this evening is, does the board approve of moving forward with the 2025 committees as listed above? And then you have a potential motion before you. Feel free to raise your hands with any questions.
I make a motion that we approve the 2025 NDDA committees.
Second,
Second.
Thank you all. All right, Scott Papich,
yes.
Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Nathan Smallwood.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all so much. You have gone through everything for the evening.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Second, you guys did great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yay. Thanks,
Have a good-
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you,
have a
Happy
good
everyone.
one.
holidays, everyone.
Happy
Yes.
Yeah, you too.
holidays.
Holidays.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.